Hey, welcome back to the stash. Tom Taylor's Detective Comics debut had all the right ingredients to be something special. The anticipation was real, especially considering Taylor's reputation as a writer is someone who can just be hit or miss. When he's on, but when he's off, the entire book suffers. With Batman at the center, Gotham's Dark Knight, it felt like the perfect moment for Taylor to step up and bring back that writing level we expect from a Batman story. But as the pages turn, something starts to feel off. Instead of delivering on that promise, what we get is a comic trying too hard to be bigger than it actually is. It feels like it's reaching for something grand, something profound, but in the process, it stumbles over itself, dragging in plot points and themes that just don't quite mesh. There are moments where it seems like it's on the verge of something powerful, but then it pulls back, leaving us with half-baked ideas that just don't quite land. It's almost as if the story knows it should be more impactful, but doesn't actually have the legs to carry it through. And when you're dealing with Batman, a character built on tragedy and legend, almost isn't good enough. And when you throw in a questionable retcon to Bruce's origin, something that risked unraveling the very foundation of what makes his story so tragic, well, you've got a comic that's not just missing the mark, it's threatening to erase what made it great in the first place. So let's dive into Detective Comics issue 1090 and see what's really going on beneath all that flash. But before we get into that, I wanted to take a quick moment to say that your support here at The Stash truly does mean the world to me. If you're a Batman fan or just love comic content in general, consider sticking around and maybe hitting that subscribe button. We're trying to reach 5,000 subscribers. Hello, future me editing this video right now. I want to quickly say that we smashed it. We already got 5,000 subscribers as I was editing this, and man, thank you all so much for helping me just even reach this point. It's crazy. I can't believe it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, it's incredible. It's still processing in my head, but anyway, back to the video. And with your help, I know we can do it. But anyway, with all that being said, let's jump right back into the video. So our story begins 3 weeks from the present day. The Dark Knight grimly looks over a tortured man on the verge of death. The mysterious figure behind all this counts it as a gift for Batman, but he obviously doesn't see it that way. He tries to get Oracle to contact paramedics, but this new foe lashes out, exclaiming that the only reason this man before them is still alive is so Batman could be here to see it all. In a crazed rant, the covered figure says that they've done it all for Bruce. Every single life taken, used as a sick form of a gift. Batman throws a strong right hook, knocking the figure back, exclaiming he won't let him die. But then this new foe warns Batman not to make the same mistakes as his father, revealing they know who's behind the mask, revealing that they know that the great Batman is secretly Bruce Wayne. We cut back to many years ago, in Gotham City, the days when the Waynes were still around, doing the best they can to help this corrupted city. Within the hospital, Thomas Wayne is quickly gathered, for there are 2 new occupants after a car crash. From the accident, the woman involved sustained injuries and is now about to go through an early labor. The driver, however, is close to death. There's just too many significant injuries. No matter how bleak the description sounds, Thomas Wayne orders for the doctor to prep him for surgery. He suggests to Thomas, however, to check on the female patient first. Upon first glance, it's easy to see that some of the bruises that she has are older than the accident. The man she was with, the one in critical condition, beat her. Without Thomas Wayne, his chances of survival would be 0. But right now, in that moment, Thomas is there, and to him, saving lives is all that matters. 9 hours later, and the surgery was a success. The mother and baby are doing fine too, although Evelyn, the mother, would like to see Thomas before he leaves. She's disheartened about the news of her abuser living. Thomas explains that he took an oath. He has to uphold his duty. Evelyn then pleads for him to make him believe that the baby didn't make it. The man's a criminal, an animal, and she feels Thomas owes it to the baby's life to do so. The next day, Thomas brings Martha to see Evelyn. He had explained the situation to her since she works with a number of services in the city that are adoption and foster agencies, as well as funding a few women refuges across the city. She comforts Evelyn in this distressing time and tells her that she can protect not only just the baby, but her as well. Starting tonight, they could be moved out of harm's way. Martha promises it and waves away any of the cost. She'll fund the entire thing for Evelyn. Later that night, Martha is less than pleased over Thomas saving the life of that criminal. Yet he says the same as before. He took an oath. As they bicker back and forth, Martha notices Bruce watching along the staircase. Alfred apologizes for him getting past him again, and Martha dismisses any concerns and lets Alfred go back to sleep as they turn their attention back to Bruce. He asks his dad a simple question: if he did what you said he did, why did you save him? For his father to respond with, "We don't know how a life will be lived. We don't know its value. And if we can save a life, and we don't, what will that make us? You saved a life, Bruce, no matter what." The clear image of his dad begins to swirl in a haze as the now grown protector of Gotham City is roaming in the midst of pouring rain, going over the same old question that constantly wrecks his brain. Could he have saved his parents' lives? As Batman goes over it once more, gunshots are heard close to Williamson and Fifth, and so the Dark Knight heads to the scene. At the convenience store, the kid holding the gun is panicking. He thought the safety is on, but now a man is lying on the ground with a gunshot wound. To try to make things somewhat right, he calls an ambulance, but then bursting through the window is the Batman. The kid is terrified and tries to apologize for what he's done, but the Dark Knight quickly shuts him up with a backhand. Batman attends to the guard before he bleeds out, with the kid making a run for it. But little does he know there's a certain tracker on the back of his jacket. After the paramedics arrive, Batman is hot on the trail, with Oracle informing him about the shooter's ID. The kid's name is Sam Kristoff. He's just been released from juvenile detention, although his crimes were minor, as well as a history of family violence and abuse. Oracle, for some reason, also makes an out-of-character remark about how he would qualify to be Bruce's next Robin. It's weird, it's stupid, but anyway. Batman continues to track Sam down as he's been led into the sewers. Oracle tells Bruce the kid is about a mile ahead of him in the drain system. She continues by saying that Batman won't be able to catch Sam, and in short, she calls him old. Bruce is having none of it though, and apparently he seems to be in luck, because Sam has appeared to have stopped in a junction in the drain, roughly 6 minutes away, potentially looking for a hiding spot. But upon arrival, Bruce finds out the gory truth. He goes detective mode on the scene. He discovers the murder had no signs of struggle. The killer just wanted Sam dead. The culprit is long gone, but there's still oddly a scent around, a white musk perfume. This killing, though, marks the 9th from this new mysterious serial killer running free in Gotham. Batman begins to blame himself for Sam's death, for if he hadn't hit him, he wouldn't have run. He ran and he couldn't keep up, and because of that, he couldn't stop any of this from happening. And so, before he leaves, the Dark Knight apologizes to Sam's corpse. It's time for Bruce Wayne to make an appearance though, for he's got an event to attend to. He usually declines these sort of things, but this one's different. He's actually happy to see this person succeed. We're introduced to Scarlett Martha Scott, one of the last people Bruce's mother helped directly. The two briefly enjoy small talk before Scarlett takes Bruce to show him something that she's been working on. As they make their way to the spot, Bruce bumps into a couple of Gotham's elites. However, there's something different about them. They oddly look younger, and Scarlett is about to offer Bruce that exact same treatment. Her incredible breakthrough, the ability for Batman, Bruce Wayne, to regain his youth. And so our story ends with Bruce Wayne contemplating the procedure, as well as a mini flashback that reshapes the entire origin of Batman as we know it. The patient Thomas saved from the car crash is causing major problems within the hospital. Thomas observes from a TV screen. He goes over the man's papers and comes to the conclusion that they simply cannot hold him any longer within their care. And as he would put it, the monster can be someone else's problem, declaring that it's time to discharge Joe Chill. Tom Taylor's debut on Detective Comics has left me conflicted. Like, there's some stuff I personally enjoyed, but there were still aspects of the book, a lot of aspects, that really brought it down for me. The biggest being the repetitive themes that the book presents, as well as the entire conspiracy theory that the blood of the youth is the secret to de-aging being right at the forefront for this story. And that could possibly be because of how stupidly obvious it is that Scarlett is the mysterious killer. She just coincidentally happens to be someone who's found a way to reverse aging, all the while young juveniles have been getting murdered all across Gotham. Plus, if you look at the marketing for this comic, then you see that this new killer, Asima, likes to take plasma from the youth. God, every time I think of stealing plasma, I get horrible Morbius flashbacks.
More plasma!
Anyway, as I was saying, that aspect of the character only links to Scarlett's brand new cure to halt aging. Plus the way that Asima spoke to Batman at the start, saying all the stuff about his dad's mistake, which then has the comic jump right into a flashback depicting Thomas saving Scarlet and her mother and her deadbeat dad, it's too obvious. Like Arkham Knight levels of obvious. Before I go into my main rant though, I wanted to take a second to just show my appreciation for the artwork, and now Mikhail Janin, I hope I didn't butcher his name, absolutely nailed every single panel he drew. Each one felt alive and dynamic, and his work was honestly the saving grace of this entire comic for me. Unfortunately though, that's about all that I really liked about the book, because god, this issue is just so painful. Like, I've never had such a writer's block when it comes to a comic review as I'm having right now. I've been sat here when I was writing this for 30 minutes just trying to think of a way to word or express my feelings about the book, but that's the problem. There is no feelings. From the first to last page, I sat there all the same. Emotionless, impatient. Sure, there were some moments that were nice, like the internal conflict and the themes of who gets to decide what a life is worth, even after all the evil they've done, and who truly deserves to live a longer life than others and all that. I get that, but it just falls flat, and in some ways it's because this isn't new, especially not for someone like Batman, who's a character that's foundation is majorly built off no killing, and all the variables that come with that. The comic wasn't necessarily boring, but just more so hollow, like it's attempting to be deeper than it is. It's almost putting on a facade, pretending even to have more beyond than the surface, but as soon as you dig a little bit deeper, as soon as you sit down and think about it, all you'll find is a decent at best beginning of an era to a comic that needs to be great, that needs to be grand. It's Batman, the Dark Knight, one of the best characters in all of fiction. And if you've the privilege to actually become the writer of not just one of his many series, but one of Detective Comics, the place where it all began for this iconic, legendary character, then there's a certain responsibility that comes with the task. And I feel like here, today, as much as I want to say the opposite, Tom Taylor didn't deliver. There wasn't anything special about this, nothing to really hook me. Everything felt too obvious. Like, why would Oracle just straight up tell Batman he's too old and won't be able to catch up to a 17-year-old on foot, which is total bullshit by the way, unless it was forced to spoon feed us one of the many internal conflicts Bruce later has when he's presented the cure to aging. I understand that Batman getting older has become more so present within his main comics over the last few runs, but the way it was presented in this issue just felt really contrived. It wasn't clever, it was over the top, just like some other parts of this issue, a major one being Barbara's Robin comment she made earlier. That short yet oddly distasteful section completely clashes with the Barbara of the Nightwing books, a Barbara that was built off what Tom himself wrote, so how did he get it so right there, and then so wrong here with one simple scene? Just like the retcon of this book, the biggest Tom got wrong moment, the retconning of Joe Chill, the man who killed Bruce Wayne's parents. DC for some reason just can't seem to let this piece of scum rest. His time is up. He served his purpose a long time ago. There's literally no need to change anything, especially the way this comic potentially just did. Having Joe not just be a random mugger in Crime Alley, in my eyes ruins the entire impact their deaths had. It takes away that tragic aspect to the entire origin story. It takes away from how the Waynes, these beacons of hope, constantly trying to heal the corruption that festers in a cesspool of a city like Gotham, are ultimately killed by that corruption by those that inhabit the cesspool. It emphasizes how far the city has fallen, how deep the roots of evil and despair flow within Gotham. It's perfect. Perfect. And then comes along Tom Taylor with issue 1090 of Detective Comics, and all of a sudden, that impact, that heartbreak, that poetic tragedy has all been unraveled. Implying that the reason the Waynes died wasn't because of just some mugger, but instead because of Joe Chill wanting revenge over Thomas and Martha, protecting his girlfriend and child from his abuse, is just so needless and just so pointless. It takes one of the best origin stories ever made and turns it into a basic revenge plot. Tom Taylor's Detective Comics debut had so much potential, but as it stands, it feels more like a shadow of what it could have been. Batman deserves better. We, the fans, deserve better. And maybe someday we'll get a story that just doesn't wear the mask of greatness, but actually earns it.